Hey, I'm Ken Vermeille, and this is another episode of Absolutely, the podcast that helps founders and startups build products that people love to use. Today, we're going to talk about customer pain points and how you can use them to build excellent products. Now, why should you focus on customer pain points? Well, it's simple. If you don't, then somebody else will, and they will kick your product out of the market. When building a product, you want to ensure that you are attacking a pain point that your customer really doesn't like. Um, I was listening to a podcast the other day with Stripe's podcast, and essentially the speakers essentially said, "Hey, if you have the option, you could build a vitamin or you can build a Tylenol." People forget to take their vitamins all the time because it's not something that's interesting for them. There's no real incentive to, other than maybe in the future, you get excellent eyes because you're taking your vitamins. For somebody who, has a killer headache, they're not going to forget to take their Tylenol. What's going to happen is they're going to take their Tylenol once, they're going to start feeling better. And the moment that they stop taking their Tylenol, they're going to look for it. They're not going to forget. You want your product to be the same thing. You want your product to be something that if they stopped using it, they would be in pain. Your product should help them either make money, give them status, or allow them to get future money and future status. The reason why most startups or SaaS companies fail is because there's no real market need for it. Now, the idea can sound great. You could build an excellent new technology, like something that has never existed ever in life. However, if nobody wants it, then why build it? So your startup really has to find out what the customer really wants. I wouldn't even say start with your idea. Your idea should actually come at the end of determining what you need to do. You should first find the market. Once you find the market, you'll interact with the market. You'll understand what they like and what they don't like. You'll see where their problems are, and then you can start to gauge the pain that the problem is solving, or that the problem is giving them. If it is a low pain point, people will generally complain about it for a little bit, or they might even joke about it, but they'll be able to get by, right? If their current solution to that current pain is something that is easily accessible, something that doesn't need a lot of effort to fix, or it's something that everybody's figured out and is just part of the niche or part of the industry, then you shouldn't necessarily make a product that helps. That you shouldn't make a product for that problem. Now, if the problem is at kind of the medium level, what you'll see is that there'll be some competition in that space. There won't be a situation in where you'll have a medium problem and you're going to be the first person to enter that space. So there'll be a couple of products there, and they'll more or less have their issues. The problems won't necessarily stem from the problem itself. The problem will stem from how the current products in the market solve that problem. So the pain, it's still there to some extent, but the pain is now coming from not the core issue, but it's coming from the solutions that are implemented. This is kind of like the sweet spot. Now, if there is a high pain and no solutions, you're kind of at like $1 billion valuation area. If you could actually get it, if you could really solve it. The problem with solving these issues is that it's usually a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of some marketing. There's usually a reason why a problem is not solved, and by going down the path of really interviewing people and talking to your customers, you could really understand what's going on. Now, let's get back to the medium problems. Even if a problem is medium, you still want there to be enough pain for the person to part with either their time, their money, or their energy for your product. So whether that be your product solves an issue of entertainment. So somebody's bored, they're going to use your product. These are what games and social media networks do. They provide the user with a solution to their boredom. Games provide a solution to many, many hours of boredom. So if your product is able to do that, then that's great. Now your competition is really just all the players in the space. Generally, competition is good. Competition lets you know that there is a real problem. If you have zero competition, and I mean that there's no players in the space, there are no competitive products, then you might have a bigger problem. You might not want to build that because, again, the difficulty might be too high in where it's just almost impossible to solve the problem, or it requires a lot of capital and a lot of energy and a lot of dev hours or design hours or marketing hours, or the pain is too low, and it's too low because people have already figured it out and the cost of change is too high. Now let me kind of touch upon the cost of change. So if there's an existing solution and your product costs more than the existing solution, then you are going to have a very difficult time selling that solution to anybody. People buy products and services so that they solve a problem. They're not going to generally spend more money if the problem isn't like markedly better. Now, people say it has to be 10x better. It doesn't necessarily have to be 10x better. It just needs to be, you just need to market it enough to be better. But if the price is just a little bit higher, then there's no reason to switch. Here's where you could kind of offer bonuses and other things to bring the person onto your side of the fence. But problems with low pain, they are subject to, not getting a lot of traction, mainly because the problem's already solved. Now, when you're in the medium side, you can really look at all of the existing all of the existing products, and just build a product that does what your competitors do, but just a little bit better. So let's say if you're building an application and there are 10 players in the space, what you could do is you can go and look at all of their reviews and see where all of them lack. That, just understand that those people who do the reviews, that could be your initial target market. But you have to really look at their reviews and see what's wrong. Do they have a problem with their implementation? Did the product actually solve their pain? Has another pain arrived that this problem hasn't solved? Well, that the product hasn't solved. And so you have to really spend time not only with your customers, but the customers of your competitors, to really determine like where you and your product can fit in. You don't necessarily want to just build something just to build something with a low pain barrier. You essentially want to spend more time focusing on where they're hurting the most. Now, if you could save your customers money, then that is a high pain point. If you can make them money, that's a high pain point because everybody wants the money. If you can provide them with status, for instance, I know that right now everybody is using ChatGPT to write all of their content, and for the most part it works. I'm not using ChatGPT for this, which is why it's a little bit off the cuff, but it provides people status. Look at my blog posts. Look at my book that I wrote using AI. It is a shortcut to status. So as long as the solution to the pain is one of these things, you're definitely going to help your customer. After you help your customer, you're going to want to measure their success. This is excellent for case studies. This is excellent for convincing other people who have the same pain to either switch from their current solution or to just use your product. With a really solid case study, you can say, this person had your problem. We solved it. By solving it, we helped them make money. helped them save money, gave them status, and by doing that, they're happier. There's always an emotional, like people buy products to essentially reach an emotional state. That could be not being stressed by the lack of status or lack of funds or lack of being where they want to be, and really ultimately that's where all of the pain comes from. The problem that you're solving could essentially be preventing the person from taking that vacation that they wanted to take or spending time with their family. There are products that are out there that we've built. All it does is it saves time. People are able to do something in an hour that would have taken them 8 hours. So really honing in and figuring out where your customers are hurting, building the product around that, measuring their success, and ensuring that they have a good time doing it is the reason why you should focus on your customers' pain. Spend time, show some empathy, be with them in their pain, and then once you're in the core of their pain, that's when you can start coming up with interesting ideas, coming up with ideas that maybe your competitors don't even know about. Those ideas are the things that kind of get you from, $1,000 monthly recurring revenue to 10,000, 20,000 recurring revenue by being so in tune, by being honestly obsessed with your customers' pain. You'll have the insight to build a product that really helps them. And that is your episode of Absolutely. Please let me know if you have any questions and comments. I love hearing back from people. You could always email us at absolutely@vermillionsky.com. And I hope to hear from you soon. Have an excellent